Let me be blunt. There is no good way to die. The movies, television, stage, they all pretty it up. They make it look much easier than it is, even when they make it look difficult. I've watched a lot of people die in my lifetime. I've never seen an easy death. It just doesn't happen. And I've watched people die of cancer. And there's nothing pretty about those deaths ever. They're long, they're slow, they're painful. And nothing can prepare you for how it looks and how it feels and what people go through. I watched my wife die of neck cancer, which is sometimes called carcinoid cancer or neuroendocrine tumor cancer. Her death went on for 25, 30 years. She measured her quality of life by how many diarrhea episodes she had in a day. She measured her quality of life at the end by whether or not she could get up off the toilet by herself, whether or not she could climb the stairs. She was a tough woman. She was a wonderful human being. And no one, not even somebody who is extraordinarily evil, deserves to die the way she died. There are no words that can describe how I feel about losing her. And I can't do anything to bring her back. What I can do is I can try and fight this disease for other people, try and find cures for this disease for other people so that they don't go through what Jane did and their spouses and family members don't go through what I'm going through right now. I'd like to get mad at some people. I'd really like to get angry, but I can't. I'd like to get angry with her doctor, but I can't. He'd never heard of neck cancer before. He'd never heard of carcinoid cancer before. There's a saying in this business that you can't detect what you don't suspect. And I always take that one step further and say, you can't suspect what you don't know about. We ask a lot of doctors. We ask them to know everything. And they can't. There's just way too many illnesses and diseases and injuries for them to have them all in their brain, tucked away where they can get at them. It just doesn't work. My wife's doctor was a great doctor. But coming up against neck cancer, he was outmatched by the fact that the cancer is relatively rare, or at least considered relatively rare. I'd like to get angry with her oncologists, but I can't. Because you can't cure something when you don't have the tools to cure it with. You can't treat something when you don't have the tools to treat it with. We have 3, maybe 4 drugs that we can use to treat the form of carcinoid cancer that Jane had. And 2 of those drugs were only approved after Jane died. We have a radiation treatment that's in trials right now. But it wasn't in trials here until 6 months after Jane was gone. And by the time we detected her disease, it was too late for her to go to Europe to try and find somebody there who would give her that radiation treatment. She couldn't travel that far. If you're having diarrhea every hour and a half to 2 hours, you can't get on an airplane and go to Europe. It just doesn't work. I'd like to get angry with the cancer establishment, but I can't. There are so many forms of cancer. There's so little money. They do what they can for the cancers that will give them the most bang for their buck. So breast cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, they get the money that they need to have, to some degree, to work for a cure. Neuroendocrine cancer is only diagnosed in about 12,000 people a year. We've got 120,000 people in this country who are dealing with that disease right now who know about it. And God knows how many more there are that are in the same position that Jane was in for the 25, 30 years that she had it and didn't know it. And they don't know it. I'd like to get mad with the government. For 40 years, they didn't do anything. They did nothing. They funded not a single research project from 1968 to 2008. But just like the cancer establishment, they were stuck. They were stuck because they had limited amounts of money and lots of different forms of cancer. What can you do when you've got a situation like that? The answer is you fund the stuff that people make the most noise about. And you fund it to the degree that you can. But things are getting really bad on that front. Today, for every 100 good ideas about all the forms of cancer, only about 5% of them get any federal money at all. That's painful. And I'd like to get angry about it. But the truth of the matter is, as long as we decide we've only got so much money, there's only so much we can do. I'd like to get mad at the American public. That won't work either. What do we know? If our doctors don't know about this disease, if our oncologists frequently don't know about this disease, what chance does the average layperson have of making an intelligent and informed choice about what to do with this disease? That's got to change. If things are the same way 10 years from now that they are now, I'll have somebody to get mad at. It'll be me. I don't want to see anyone go through what my wife went through, ever again. And yet there are people right now walking around with this disease that are going to die from it, are going to die the same horrible death that she did. But 10 years from now, we better be a lot further along, because I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen. Why do I fight neck cancer? Why do I fight carcinoid cancer? Why do I care about all this stuff? There's a grave in the north end of Fall River. My wife's in it. I can't bring her back. I can try all kinds of things, but the one thing in my power, the one thing that's not in my power, is to bring her back. But I'm sure as hell going to try to keep people from dying the death she died. And I'm sure as hell going to try to prevent other people from being in the position that I'm in now, where there's nothing, absolutely nothing I can do for her. But if I can do something for somebody else, if I can do something for somebody else,